Right, so without further ado, I want to welcome our next speaker, that is Beran Oneko, Senior Employment Officer at the National Employment Authority. He's gonna give us some few nuggets here and there. Karibu sana, your microphone is there. All right, a little clap for him for confidence. Asante sana, thank you.
1 million, 2 million. Good morning, everyone. The management of ZTech University, the representatives that are here, and also the consultant that is here. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning once more. Let me introduce myself. My name is Oneko Ogonya. The first name has no pronunciation. It's just an identity. I'll give you an history one day about that name. It was supposed to be Brian, but the current Gen Z and the millennials distorted that name. So with that identity is BY, not Brian. That's the origin of that name. So I'm here to represent the National Employment Authority and at least to talk about the labor migration or labor mobility. So I don't want it to be a lecture session, especially after Daktari's great speech. I just want to be an interactive session. I believe we have 15 to 20 minutes. 15 minutes. Question and answer? Huh? 15 is perfect. So I'll be brief. It will be a package of how the service is, how the labor migration is, so that you can appreciate it, and also a package of somehow what I'm also doing besides, so that I can also encourage you. So after maybe 15 or after the 12th minute, I'll try to manage this time. We can have some short question and answer. Just by a show of hand, how many people have heard of National Employment Authority before? Few, okay. Some. I'm glad that some are aware, some are not aware. So the National Employment Authority is a semi-autonomous government agency, SAGA, under the Ministry of Labor. It is mandated to promote and manage employment in the country, but not to monopolize, but just to manage and promote employment. So that means that it manages and promotes employment locally and also internationally. So by saying locally, we have a tool known as employment services, public employment services. So the public employment services are those services that can be offered privately, but mostly when it's offered privately, it is at a fee, but for us, it's free. So all the services for the job preparation, guidance, career guidance, CV writing, and also vocational guidance. So those services, all inclusive, are the public employment services. Then there is now, from the theme, we are supposed to talk about the labor migration. So there is also a sector of labor migration, managing the foreign employment. Then again, there is also a sector of policy advisory or legal and policy advisory. So when it comes to matters of unemployment and employment issues in the country, the National Employment Authority sits at the board also to advise the government and the county governments on how the situation of employment is. So we are aware that currently in Kenya we have a youthful population, unemployment rate ranging from 5.6, and also we expect more and more graduates every year. Roughly around 800,000 people graduating every year with various degrees, diplomas, certificates. We also have masters there, PhDs and so on. So that brings us how we are supposed to picture ourselves. We are here as a student, you as a student. Now I'm also a student, maybe at another level, but I'm also a student. So I understand the pleas and also the challenges of being a student on the other side also. So you are here, you will graduate maybe in the next coming days, and you expect to be absorbed in the job market, right? That's one. Or you expect to start on your ventures. That's another one. Or you just expect to monetize your skills. So there are various opportunities or avenues that you can take. So for the labor migration, the National Employment Authority is the regulator of all private employment agencies in Kenya that are involved to take Kenyans to work abroad. So the National Employment Authority is the regulator. So the regulation part comes in by checking the ethical practices conducted by these agencies. The ethical practices. So with this, we have a framework that is working. We have a collaborations with these private employment agencies. And the register is online also, for you to know the valid employment agencies that you're dealing with when it comes to foreign employment. So we have a system known as National Employment Authority Integrated Management System, NEA IMS. At your free time, because of time you can't showcase it right now or maybe demonstrate. At your free time you can just check using your phone the National Employment Authority Integrated Management System. Through that system you'll find that we have components of public employment services where we are supposed to have the job seekers database. So by having the job seekers database, it gives us an overview of how the country is supposed to be when it comes to skill matching and also the employer's demand. We have the employer's portal also, where employers also do register and upload their vacancies, so employers locally in Kenya. Then we also have a part of the private employment agencies. Those agencies also are supposed to upload those vacancies, the international vacancies that they get, to that portal. Why is National Employment Authority doing this? Lately, we are aware of the trends that has been going on, and if you are a friend or maybe close to social media, you have seen some of the concerns from the public on issues to do with scamming or maybe being duped about opportunities that are not there. So this framework allows us to first of all verify the job order that is there before the recruitment process starts. So the recruitment is a process. You can't just say that right now you are absorbed. For example, let's use Safaricom as an employer example. You can't say you are absorbed in Safaricom without any legal contract binding between you and Safaricom. So it's about awareness creation that you're creating. So once the agencies outsource, these agencies, remember that they are now privately owned. Once they outsource these opportunities, they are like our ambassadors. Once they outsource these opportunities, ours is to check on the validity of these opportunities. So the validity checking comes across when we also collaborate with the diaspora unit, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the security unit, and also the consular services on the other side, the embassy that is on the other side. So just to check and to be sure that these vacancies are valid and they are also available. With that, those agencies now go ahead to publicize these vacancies, so they are online. Any Kenyan can apply for these vacancies. The selections continues, and with the training that these agencies have gone through, there is a training known as IRIS. It has been, we have done this training to those private employment agencies through our development partners, pleasure to mention IOM also. So you find that we train them on how to recruit ethically and how to conduct this process ethically. So those vacancies are there. So the reason that I'm also here is to address the challenges that we usually have, or maybe the distress that we usually handle at our offices. We have a return and reintegration centers across 5 counties. I did not mention, we have 31 offices in 29 counties so far, still establishing others in other counties also as time goes by, because it all depends on the bureaucracy of the budgeting of the government. So with this distress, we usually handle some challenges. And those challenges are all mostly related to lack of information from the public. One, you'll find that some agencies, some scrupulous agencies, do request or maybe demand recruitment fee from individuals with no job opportunities available completely. So once Kenyans are maybe conned, we handle these cases, we do follow up, and we help a lot also in terms of ensuring that compensation is there, because we are also the regulators. And another thing, you find that other Kenyans might be leaving the country with visit visas, tourist visas. And those are some of the information that maybe some or maybe some of us might be lacking, with no contract in position, with just a verbal assurance that when you go to the other side, you'll get an opportunity. This is not an education mission where you're supposed to go and start your studies, but you're supposed to leave the country ready for work. And you're leaving the country ready for work with no employment, with no employer between you and the prospective employer negotiation, and you expect that there is a job opportunity on the other end. So we try our very best to negotiate with countries to countries through the Ministry of Labour also, something known as bilateral labor agreements or MOUs, on how Kenyans can be treated when it comes to job contracts. So the BLAs or MOUs are just a standard way of negotiations between Kenya and other countries. For example, if you are keen, there is one that was signed recently. The signing event is a ceremony, yes, but the process is usually diverse and long. Sometimes with Germany, so far we are also having a conversation with Canada, Kenya-Canada conversation to have either BLA or an MOU, a working MOU, that will now promote labor mobility. So these MOUs are not contracts. It's just a standard way of how countries can treat the prospective citizens when it comes to employment matters in their destination countries. So with this, we at least bringing those information, and also we also have the publications that we do. Now the labor market information, where the opportunities are, through our official website, National Employment Authority websites and social media, where those opportunities are, how to apply them, and we do sometimes conduct job fairs. So the recent one being planned for is for Nairobi. There is also another one that's supposed to come in November, Job Employment Summit. So this information we do give the public so that they can be aware of how to apply for maybe opportunities. Now these are jobs, for example, in Australia, in Canada, or any European country, or maybe even in Africa. So those are some of the ways that we try to promote ethical recruitment. But in any case, you get all this done and you're still in distress, there is a reporting procedure to National Employment Authority. There is a toll-free that is on our website. So the word toll-free means that you can't be charged any airtime when you're using it, and you can use it anywhere. So there's a toll-free to report any distress case. There is also a reporting form in the National Employment Authority website. So that's it for because of time, that's an overview for the labor migration that National Employment Authority is trying to promote.
All right.
How many minutes?
We still have a question and answer session.
Question and answer session?
Yes.
Okay.
If anyone would like to ask a question, please feel free right now. Even the staff members or anyone who is present in here. Do you have an extra microphone? Okay. So anyone from this side? By this side I mean this side and downwards. Anyone from this side? Okay, there's one. Anyone else? There's one over there again. So 1, 2. So let's come this side. Anyone from this side, please? Anyone from this side? Over here? Okay. So that's just it. Welcome.
Thank you. My name is Lona. Just requesting to know, are there really fully funded jobs? For example, we see jobs being advertised, like in TikTok, we see caregiver jobs. In Canada, in many parts of the world, are there really fully funded jobs whereby the employee pays for you everything and caters for everything, inclusively the visa and the air ticket? Are there? Thank you.
Okay, we get the other question. Thank you very much, Laura. Please stand and maybe give us your name first.
Okay, I'm Dennis. My question is, what are some of the criteria that the National Employment Authority to validate the viability of those agents that are offering the international jobs? Yeah.
Come again, please.
I mean, what are some of the criteria that the National Employment Authority are using to validate the viability of those agents?
Okay. Did you get the question, sir? All right. Any other question? Okay, the lady in green over here. Beautiful lady over here. Please raise your hand that he may see you. Okay. Thank you.
Hi, is there a way to ensure that also is there a way to ensure that those who are getting employed, especially through agencies, are fairly compensated, as well as those in the collaborative country who are in the counterpart country?
Okay, beautiful question. All right, maybe we can go with that. Mr. Oneko?
Okay.
You ready?
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Let's start with the learner's question. That if they are fully funded job being catered for by the employer on the destination country for Kenyans. The question is yes. The answer is yes to that question. There are validly fully funded jobs by employers to Kenyans. Now, here's the catch. We have a yes and no answer here, and both are allowed and constitutionally okay. So for the agencies that now checks on these jobs, you find that it depends on the negotiations between these agencies and the destination employer. Some employers are generous enough to provide travel, medical test, and also accommodation to their employees. They're generous enough to provide all these essentials to the prospective migrant worker before they leave the country. And that's the ethical standard that's supposed to be. Because these are employers that understand that once you are a job seeker, most probably you don't have initial capital to do most of the things. These are some of the employers. But now, there are some challenges also. We get employers that genuinely like to do this, collaborate with agencies, and along the way they get duped after providing their resources or maybe money for these activities to be done. So these employers will find that next time they will be hesitant to provide all these. So they will tell you, outsource and coordinate. Let the job seeker, the migrant worker, get to my point. I can compensate you after that. So this information, you find that it is between the agency and the employer. So this information, if it is between the agency and the employer, most cases you find that the agency rarely share this information to the job seeker. So they will allow job seeker to use their funds, and yet they will be compensated, but the job seeker will not be compensated. So that's why you hear that a job seeker complaining or maybe reporting a distress case, I was conned 1 million Kenya shillings, 700,000 and so on, so that they can get the jobs. And you'll also find a success story whereby a job seeker tells you, I catered for my traveling expenses and I got the job. So it is a two-way scenario. One can provide, others can provide. For the Dennis question about the criteria of validating the ability of the agencies to operate within the jurisdiction of Kenya and also on employment matters. So we have guidelines, we have legal instruments. So we are guided by the Labour Institutions Act of 2007, and through that we also have guidelines and regulations drawn from that act. So this act allows the agencies to have some physical office structure, the HR, and also the agency to be fully registered as a company in Kenya, and so on. So there is a full list of criteria to validate these agencies. So those are some of the criteria that these agencies have to check before even paying the registration fee as an agency. The registration fee comes last. So first you have to be registered as a company in Kenya. That's one. You have to meet the minimum threshold of shareholding capital. So the reason why we are checking on the financial status of these agencies, in case of any repatriation case where that Kenyan that is outside, that was taken by this agency, needs a repatriation, ours is to provoke this financial status of the agency. Besides that, before the registration process is done, National Employment Authority ensures that there is a security bond between these agencies and a preferred bank or an insurance company. So this bond can be provoked and can be utilized when any Kenyan is in distress on the other side. So that's the reason why we have the reporting forms and the phone for us to report and also now to start acting. But you find our awareness creation forums, for example, the job fairs, we have been doing it to encourage Kenyans that when you are leaving the country, let National Employment Authority know, just know it. But before you find that some people are hesitant saying that if they know, we link them to our tax systems and so on. It's just some misinformation. Because I don't believe if you're working in Canada, KRA is taxing you there. Is it true? It's impossible. I mean, it's just impossible. So those are some of the misinformation that we have. Because you can't even... So those are some... It's impossible. So even here in Kenya, there are foreigners working here. Sorry. Employed by Kenyan companies. Maybe foreigner from Uganda. Is the tax system in Uganda taxing the same person? Definitely no. But there are some remittances transaction fees. For example, when you are now transacting those your proceeds to your destination country. So those are just transactions, but you can't say that those are now taxed. Those are remittances that are now being counted. So giving National Employment Authority this information, where you are the employer, in case of any district, you can follow it easily. That's the advantage point of now us having the information. For Margaret's question about that you're supposed to ensure that getting employment or fair compensation when you're in your destination country working. That's the question. So the fair compensation, you find that some countries, for example, the Middle East, they have different perks for different cadres. So with different perks for different cadres, when you now change that perk to Kenyan currency, it might be so little, or maybe not some little, let's appreciate it, it might not be to the standard that a Kenyan expects. But when you now transfer, change it to maybe our neighboring countries' currency, they are okay with that. So you find that as a region, someone from the neighboring countries is okay with that perk, but a Kenyan might feel he is now being not fairly compensated. So that's the reason why we usually have the MOUs with the regional blocks of those destination countries to negotiate at least the minimum wages for Kenyans. So it's a government approach. Then, with that, when we are now validating the job orders, the job offers that we get before the vacancies goes online, we also check on the compensation. If the compensation is below what it's supposed to be, definitely that job order cannot be verified and that vacancy cannot go online, according to National Employment Authority. So there is a surety that their compensation is checked on. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so would you have maybe anything else to add?
Yeah. Can I have my takeaway now?
Yes, please.
At most, give me 4 minutes here.
Yeah, please.
I was having a brand of National Employment Authority, but now I just want to have my brand. I just want to talk to you, to encourage you. So I want to have a brand of Ogonya Oneko. We have been privileged to have talk from Madam here, people who have explored the world. people who have gotten those opportunities. She has given us her background, education background, Daktari, how he was top students and so on. I want to encourage you this way. I will give a takeaway point to at least 2 people, just to mentor 2 people, a boy, a gentleman and a lady, if you can allow me, just to mentor, and I will also coordinate with Anne so that you can get them. The criteria to mentor these people is the criteria to select these people is in this room here. Do you have an orphan? It's just a question. That's the first criteria, direct ticket. An orphan? Wow. Thanks, may God bless. At least you don't have one. It's not a good situation, right? But where I usually go, I usually encourage or maybe mentor too. The reason why I'm focused on an orphan, I became an orphan at age 9. I'm now a civil servant, so I'm in the government sector also. And I'm also in private sector. The private sector is that I'm also trying to run something, a small farm. And from the schools that Professor highlighted, we have ICT-based education, right? I majored in mathematics, statistics, and computer science. So that's my major. So the employment services and so on, those are some certifications that I got. I want to encourage you that it's possible. I'm not where I'm supposed to be, but I've gone through those challenges and achieved something, at least. And those countries that are being mentioned here, the developed countries, the European regions, you will go through that. But you have to package yourself. You just have to package yourself first. After packaging yourself, now you're supposed to enhance your skill. Because where the economy is going, truth be told, we are checking on skills, then the paper now safeguards it. That certificate safeguards it. Because before I get where I am, I have to present papers. To maintain that position, I have to prove it with my skills. And there are some technical skills that you can't lie. That is what you are checking on. So there are some technical skills you can develop. Yes. Develop for me this on a 1-week deadline. It's either I do or you can't. No more stories. So those are some of the things that you are checking on. So with that, I would like at least a volunteer to coordinate with Madam Anne that is in line with any ICT field. Someone who has a passion in line with any ICT field, so that when you get at least some projects, we can do it together at least. And when we do it together, we share something. You are a student and also have your needs. We share something, so that at least to motivate us to do something. Someone in ICT field, that's where I can help. Someone in ICT field, we have a firm that's known as InnoVision.com. So this firm is about uplifting. InnoVision Uplift Company, it's about uplifting. So I'm the founder, yes, but it's not about me anymore. It's about us. So anytime I get to an institution, I usually check on anyone who is an orphan. But the good thing here, there is none. So we'll check on someone with a passion and skills in ICT. So it's basically software. There is no hardware, so I can't mentor you when it comes to hardware issues. Basically, software, that's it. So encourage and also reform your brands. So with that, open your mind. Everything is possible. I don't have a godfather and I've been there. I've been to Europe also, I've also been to that country and so on. So it's about opening your mind. And also opportunities are also here locally. Just network and talk. Thank you so much.